Meantime, House Majority Leader Eric Cantor said on Wednesday he is open to closing tax loopholes as part of a final deal. He joins us this morning from Capitol Hill. Sir, good to have you with us.
Good morning.
So when we look at, there's been a fair amount of movement over the last 24 hours. As we mentioned, the president putting Social Security and potentially Medicare changes on the table. You have said you're open to looking at some of these loopholes, and both sides seem open to raising these cuts to $4 trillion. With all of that, do you believe we could get a compromise and even a deal today?
Well, I'm hopeful that we can resolve the issues that come between us as quickly as possible because, Eric, as you know, too many people are out of work in this economy, and the fact is that our economy needs to get a signal from Washington that we are going to begin to manage down the debt and deficit in this country, and that's what today's meeting at the White House is about.
Are tax loopholes the only compromise that you're willing to bring to the table today, or is there something more?
Well, for the last 6 or 7 weeks, we've had several discussions ongoing about how we actually address this problem. And the core of the issue is the country is spending entirely too much money. It's borrowing 40 cents of every dollar it spends. We can't afford to do that, just like people around their kitchen tables and small businesses can't afford to do it. So how are we going to address that situation? And that's first and foremost. We put together a package of trillions of dollars of savings. I believe that both sides can come together to begin to embrace those savings and manage down the debt and deficit. And in return, the president has asked us to increase the debt limit of this country. So again, I hope that we can do this and we can begin to focus again on how people get back to work. I know, Erica, in my hometown of Richmond, people are very, very anxious about this economy, and they're looking to see how we can get back to a growth-oriented picture.
Well, people are also anxious, too, for lawmakers in Washington, and this includes both parties, to get this done. They have listened to this issue for weeks, actually months at this point. But just tell me specifically, is there anything else, yes or no, that you're willing to bring to the table this morning?
Well, as we said yesterday, it's important for us to focus on the real issue here, and those are not some of the corporate loopholes or preferences that exist in the tax code. All of us agree we need to simplify the tax code, we need to lower rates, because that's what helps create middle-class jobs. And it is about finding areas where we can agree and set aside the differences, and hopefully that'll be the spirit of the meeting today at the White House.
There's been so much talk over these last couple of months as we have looked at this issue of the debt ceiling and the approaching deadline. Talk about if the U.S. were to default. Well, if you come to a compromise, that may not happen. But is there any concern in Washington that perhaps the reputation of this country may already be damaged by airing so much laundry out there, politicking on both sides, bickering, talk about how we may not be able to pay our bills? Is that hurting the standing already?
Well, I think the country has a long history of active public discourse, and going back to the very founders of this country. I come from a district where James Madison first represented us in Virginia, so it's clear that even then there was spirited debate. What I do think, though, is most Americans then and now believe that the country should pay its bills just as they're expected to do at home. And with that, I believe that we can come together, we can find ways to cut spending, to get our fiscal house in order so we can begin to grow the economy again and people can get back to work.
This meeting is obviously between party leaders. Is there any concern, because we've seen a little bit of a shift in the Republican Party, as to whether or not you'll be able to sell this final compromise, we're thinking positively here, to the rest of your party?
Well, you know, listen, I don't think any of us relish the notion that somehow we've been sent here to do just this. We relish the notion this is a huge privilege to represent the people of our districts, and what they're expecting is for us to begin to get the fiscal house in order here in Washington. I do think that there will be a spirit of trying to get results here so that the people that elect us can regain their confidence that they've got a federal government that understands its limited role, but can provide the environment for entrepreneurs and small businesses to begin to create middle-class jobs again.
Well, we will be watching. We appreciate your time this morning. House Majority Leader Eric Cantor, thank you.
Thank you.